about our videos a little bit.
All right.
Okay. I just don't want to do this floundering around for 10 minutes like we normally do.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Let's see here. And welcome to another live event on Tuesday night. And I just want to welcome everybody here. I'm going to take a look at a few things here before we really get started. If you are new to our channel, please take some time, not now, but at some point, take some time to watch our videos and see whether or not you like them. And we really would appreciate that. And if you do like them, if you like them enough to share them, I'd appreciate that. I definitely would. And I'm just going to talk about our channel just a little bit. While people are filtering in and while people are coming into the room, there's always got to be some time you got to kill. So I want to kill a little bit of time talking about our channel. We have some videos on our channel, right, as you would expect. We have right now 609 subscribers. So that's all right. So that's good. And we're hoping to make it to 1,000. And I was just explaining to my wife last week, or earlier this week, I think it was last week, I was explaining to her that, the two obstacles that we have of getting to 1,000 subscribers, and also doing the 4,000 viewing hours. If I understand that right, we just have to hit an average of viewing hours to where we would average 4,000 hours a year. And that's the way I understand it. And when I did the math of how much do we need to average per month to make the 4,000 hours, and I looked at that number, then I looked at the number of minutes that we're currently getting per month, and we're already over that. We're already over that mark. So we've already got over a hurdle already of the viewing minutes. And it's kind of interesting how we've already gotten over our hurdle for viewing minutes even before we've gotten 1,000 subscribers. So that's telling me something really good. That means that people are watching our videos. So we must be doing something good. We must be doing something right. And hopefully we'll just continue to put out good videos so the viewing minutes would continue to climb. And I'm never going to see that as something that's not needed. I'm always going to see that as something that's important. That obviously, if you're not getting a lot of viewing minutes, then that means there's something wrong with the content. It's not interesting enough for people to keep on watching it. So if I see that our viewing minutes start to go down, then that's going to tell me that I'm doing something wrong, something that maybe I need to change, maybe something I need to improve upon, something like that. So that's just one thing. So we're already over a hurdle, as far as I can tell, of the viewing minute hurdle. I think we've already crossed that. So that right there is kind of exciting, I think. So now all we got to do is get about 400 subscribers, and then we should be over that hurdle. And then hopefully from that point, I think because of how the algorithm works on YouTube, is that right now we're really nobodies because we haven't hit that 1,000 subscriber limit. So we're not getting the rotation, I think, that we would normally get. And that's just the way it works. I'm not trying to say any kind of conspiracies or anything like that. It's just the way it works. So I think once we cross that threshold of 1,000, I think we might see a difference in the number of views that we got. But with the number of views that we've got and the amount of watch time minutes that we've got, I think that's pretty encouraging. That's pretty encouraging. So I just want to talk a little bit about our channel. While people are filtering in, if you're already coming into the room, we're not ignoring you. We're just going over a few things right now until more people start coming in. And, take a look at our videos on our channel. Like we have our popular videos, our popular uploads. And right now, our most popular upload that we've got is about the Cobalt 40-volt electric weed trimmer. That's our most popular video that we've got. It's got 12,000 views. So, wow. I know a lot of people are like, that's no big deal. No, wait a second. You don't understand. We've only got 600 subscribers, and we have a video that's got 12,000 views. That's pretty amazing, I think. That's really something. So that's our most popular video, the weed trimmer video. So I think the reason why they like that is because it shows something in a more simplistic fashion. Say, look, this is something I can follow. I'm showing every single thing that I'm doing. I'm showing every little step that I'm doing, so that someone can look at what I'm doing in that video, and then they in turn can do the exact same thing. So, and a lot of people give me a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people said, how much it's helped them and how they've done it that way, and they've seen an improvement in all the weed eating that they're doing, so they don't have to fight with it as much. But I've also had some negative feedback. Someone did say that they tried it that way and it didn't work. And I just want to make it clear that, I'm not saying that it's 100% going to work every time. I think probably in general, weed trimmers are just not designed very well. And that's probably the main thing, is that you got this little movable wire that's made out of plastic, this plastic cord that moves around and can move around really easily, and it's easy for it to get tangled up, and you're expecting it to stay perfectly straight and not get tangled up. It's just not the way it's designed. It's just not the way it works. So you can pretty much guarantee it's going to get tangled up. But really, you want to find the method or the way of dressing up your string trimmer to where you get the most success out of it. To say, hey, this is what works more often, right? And then our second most famous video, it's got 4,400 views, 4.4K. Now that's a big difference. That's a big difference between 12,000 and 4,000. That's a pretty big margin right there. But that too is another do-it-yourself, step by step. I try to get a little entertaining in there. It's a little funny. But I think people appreciate me going step by step. So I think, looking at that, maybe I need to start doing more videos like that in the future. Right? And speaking of that, my wife has been doing some good step by step videos. Mm-hmm. So you've been doing a lot of good step by step videos. Now, they're not like the all out most popular, but I got to tell you, it's not very far from the top. We got a video that she made. I edited it, of course, but she actually filmed it and did all that herself. And it's called Made from Scratch Homemade Noodles. And it's only been up for 3 weeks, and it's already got 182 views.
That's a lot for us.
Yeah, 182 views in 3 weeks. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ranked number 6. So she's already in the top 10 after only 3 weeks of being up. Other videos that are in the top 10 are a lot older than 3 weeks. Right now, the only thing beating it right now is the Raising Rabbits for Meat, and that's been up for 7 months. So this video that my wife did only 3 weeks ago is getting close to the video that's been up for 7 months. So that's pretty good. So why don't you talk about a few things about that video? What do you like about that? And how you made it and things like that.
It's my mother used to make homemade noodles, and her mother used to make homemade noodles, and I have known some women who I've made noodles for a supper before, and they said they didn't know how, and I thought, well, I was going to make noodles for supper that day, and I thought, well, I should do a video on it to show people how to do it, because a lot of people don't know how to use their noodle makers. Mm-hmm. I have a noodle machine and hand cranked, and so a lot of people aren't quite sure how to knead it, or I wasn't very sure of it either when I first started. I just kind of went. My mom showed me, and I had to feel my way the rest of the way. So
right. So if I were to guess, based on what I've been saying so far, and also based on my other videos that are popular, I would say that probably, other than the fact that, obviously it was, making noodles because your mom made noodles, right? And doing something that people don't do it as often. Now, there are a lot of people who make their own noodles. That's why they make noodle makers. But how many noodle making videos do you see on YouTube? I don't know how many. Probably not a whole lot, right?
I'm sure they're out there. I just wanted to do it for our channel.
Right, but I think the key is the same for her video, is it for my videos. 'Cause I think, one of the main reasons why it's doing so well, so early, is that she goes step by step, and she explains every little part, and she has a lot of details. They're not all the details are not up front, but as you watch the video, you get more and more details as you watch. You get more and more insights as you go along.
Well, as I was filming, I just would, would think of something that, I should. As always, I just talk through it.
Right. So I think that might be the reason why it's doing so good, because someone could literally watch your video and make their own homemade noodles from scratch. And I would even venture to say that they'd probably be almost exactly like the noodles that you made in the video. As long as they follow the steps, they pay attention to all your little tips. They'll probably even, maybe the first or second time making noodles, might even come up with noodles that were just as good as the ones that were in the video. And I got to say that I had those noodles. That was actually my dinner she was making, and they were excellent. Excellent. So, yeah, so, we're trying to, learn how to make successful videos, how to make better videos, and hopefully it comes through. Hopefully every time we come out with a new video, it'll get closer to an actual movie. Get a little bit further away from a vlog style video and a little bit closer to like maybe something you would enjoy watching, even like a small miniature movie or something. And that's what we'd eventually like to get to, that level, but we're not there yet. Right? We're not there yet. We're still learning, still getting better, and we want, there's a lot of things that we're trying to do with our videos. One is to edify people in their knowledge. Share the knowledge that we've learned, things that we've figured out, things that people have taught us, and try to vocalize that and share that in a way that's meaningful to where you can actually learn that knowledge and do it yourself. That's one of the things that we're making the videos for. Another thing that we're making the videos for is that they would be interesting, that you would enjoy watching them. That's why I sometimes a little goofy. I don't know if everybody appreciates my humor or not. I don't know, but I try to make sure that all my humor is clean, that anybody can watch it, and it's not something that you'd be embarrassed to show your grandmother. So that's the... Or children, right? Which I don't know if that's a good standard.
Oh, okay.
But maybe a better standard is going back to the old timers and say, hey, what do you think about this? He said, I don't know. When I was your age, I wouldn't be caught dead watching something like that. That's probably a good indication. Maybe you shouldn't watch it, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. But if they look at it and say, well, that's pretty nice. That's nice and clean and wholesome. I have no problem with that. Then that's, by my standard, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. So that's another thing that we try to do, is just try to make it interesting, where people want to watch it, but not so modern and crazy that you can't show it to certain people. We want to make it clean. We want to make it open for everybody to watch it. So that's another thing. And then, most of all, we want to glorify God. And as we go along, as the Lord leads me to do it, I will share spiritual truths to build people up and be edified spiritually. And that's another thing that we try to touch on. So, and we do that through homesteading. And I think homesteading is an excellent topic because there's so many different directions you can go. I mean, homesteading is everything between, cooking over the campfire, building a building, fixing a problem, raising animals, raising food, solar electricity. I mean, who would have thought that? Who would have thought that solar power would have anything to do with homesteading? But it does, So all these different things that you can go in so many different directions. That's right. It's really a topic that I kind of like because it doesn't confine me down where you can only talk about this and you can't talk about anything else. I would probably run out of things to talk about. Right? I think I probably would. So I really like it for that reason. And there's a lot of other things on our page that's really worth watching. I want to try to do more collaborations. I have a good idea for a collaboration that I've been thinking about, but I'm not going to reveal it now. Right? But I have a really good idea for a collaboration, and if I do this thing that I'm thinking about doing, it's going to be an ongoing, continual collaboration. Something that will be continual and ongoing. But I got to figure out how hard it is it's going to be for me to do it, because there's some video editing involved and some video effects involved in this collaboration. And it's going to be something that I have to figure out, is it something I can maintain? Is it something I can do ongoing? Where I can keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And I'm going to see how much work is involved and see if it's even worth it. But if it pans out, maybe I'm just throwing this teaser out a little bit too soon. But if it pans out, I think it's going to be a really good collaboration. But anyway, so I'm going to try to do more collaborations in the future, and also just keep an eye on their videos. We do periodically put out videos as something happens. Like we did something without making a video. We potted some plants, and my wife said, "Do you want to make a video?" I don't know, honey. We got a lot of things we got to do today. When I make a video, it slows me down. I can get things done 3 times faster if I don't make a video. And it was true. We were tight on time, and we didn't even get everything done that we were originally wanting to do. But we just barely got things done before we had to call it quits. So we just had too many things going on that day, so we didn't video it. But we potted our lettuce, not lettuce, cabbage. We potted our cabbage plants. So they're no longer in little cups. Now they're in larger pots. And but we are going to still have to pot our tomatoes and our peppers and our broccoli and the rest of our cauliflower and whatever else we have that's still alive. Right? We still have to pot all that stuff. So maybe when we pot our tomatoes, maybe I'll make a video on that, and then I'll show you what the cabbages look like. So that'll be something we can do in the future. And now let's see who's in our chat. I think I've been blabbing long enough. It's been almost 10 minutes.
It's been 20 minutes.
Right. Oh, we got a lot of people here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back and take a look at who's here. All right. We got 2 Wild Onions Homestead. Welcome. Welcome. We got Deborah. And we've got Pete's Little Homestead.
Hello.
Welcome. And we've also got our friend Malachi. He's here with us today. That's good. All right. And so far, that's who we got here. So, welcome. Welcome to the live chat. And if you see the title of the video, we're going to start getting into our topic now. The title of our video is He is Always Right on Time. He's always right on time. And, of course, who we're talking about is God. God is always right on time. Sometimes whenever we're going through a trial or we're going through something that's difficult, and, if this kind of thing scares you away, please don't leave. This is really important. Don't we all go through trials? Don't we all go through tough times? Wouldn't it be beneficial to you to know how to get through those tough times, right? I would think that alone should make people want to stay. So, okay, yeah, I go through tough times. I have a lot of bad things happen, and I have a hard time dealing with it, right? So Maybe it's a good reason to stick around. So the way we deal with tough times and difficulty is that we trust and we rely upon the Lord. Now, just as an intellectual exercise for a moment, let's just say, just for the sake of conversation, what if God didn't exist? What if it's just all my imagination? What if? Right? Okay, well, if it were just my own imagination, after all the tough times I've gone through and all the things that I've had to deal with, and each time that I thought I was relying upon the Lord and it was just maybe my own imagination, after a while, I'm telling you, I would have just given up. Right? Because my imagination cannot change reality. I'm just telling you, it can't. I mean, I do live in a real world. And the real world I live in shows me from all the things that I've seen that my imagination does nothing to affect my reality. I can sit there and wish, and I can wish, and I can wish, and have all the positive thinking in the world. And it's not going to do anything to my circumstance. It really isn't. You know? So if it was really my own imagination, because I am a logical thinking person, and I pick up on patterns, and I pay attention to things, and if I kept pouring in and 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 pouring in, and you know, and I think God knows this, you know, and God does interact with us, you know, God does want us to draw close to Him so He can draw close to us. You can look that up. God does want us to do these things, and God does encourage us. He does give us confirmations. He does give us encouragement, and He does miracles. He still does miracles, you know, and we've seen many times where God has intervened and helped us out and given us strength and helped us to see it through to the end, and even having circumstance turn out in our favor sometimes. So there's been plenty of times that that's happened. And when you're going through tough times, sometimes all you can see is the tough times you're going through. Right? You're going through it like, you know, I can't pay my bills. I'm not making enough money to pay my bills. It's just a matter of time before all of it collapses and destroys itself, and I'm going to find myself out on the street. Right? That tends to try to creep into your head while you're going through those types of things. And I got to tell you, you know, in my past, before I was a believer, if I was going through what I've been going through now, I would have given up right off the bat. I would say, oh no, this don't make any sense. I got to change everything. You know, I got to do something drastic, right? I have to make sure that I fix this. Right? I got to make sure that I fix this. And that's the way I would have looked at it. You know, but as a believer, I said, no, what I have to do is trust in the Lord. Rely upon the one who created the whole universe. Just by speaking. You know, the word universe, if you think about that word, what does that word mean? A verse is something that's spoken, like a sentence, right? That's what the word verse means. A verse is a sentence. Uni means one. So the word universe literally means a single spoken sentence. And God said, let there be light. Right? God spoke everything into existence. That's why it's called a universe. A spoken sentence. The whole galaxy, everything is contained within the spoken sentence of God. Isn't that amazing? I think that's pretty amazing. So The same God that did all that and all the wonderful things we see all through Scripture that God has done. Do you think my little problems are any kind of a big problem for him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, it is true, sometimes, actually a lot of times if we need it, God allows us to go through those tough times, right? And that's another thing that I'll talk on here in a minute, that God does do that, right? He does allow you to go through hard times. He does allow you to go through trials and things that are really difficult to get through. He does allow that, but I'll get to that in just a minute. But at the same time, he's also a God that delivers. He's a deliverer, right? Not just in the spiritual sense that, we follow him, we trust in him, and he delivers us into eternal life. That's the ultimate sense. But also, time and time again, all through Scripture, Old Testament and New Testament, God also delivers us through the difficult trials that we're experiencing here on planet Earth. God is a deliverer. So I trust in him and he delivers me through it. Right? And that's what we've been seeing with the selling of our house. It's been since the middle of December. We're finally having our close date on Thursday, which is the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow. Right? And, I said, God is right on time. Right? Because I got to tell you, if this would have gone another month, definitely if it would have gone on another 2 months, I don't think I would have been able to hold it all together. I've been juggling this whole time. And you can only juggle for so long until everything falls apart. And I think I might have lasted like maybe another month or two, and then everything would have come unraveled. Right? But the day after tomorrow, Lord willing, it's all going to be solved. Right? Right on time. And even the money I'm in the hole with right now, all the bills that I've fallen behind on, the little bit, and I do say a little bit, we did make a little bit on the sale of the house extra. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, but I believe it's enough to pay off all the bills we've fallen behind on since October. Isn't that amazing? I mean, to me, that's amazing. That I've been behind on my bills since October. Hemorrhaging several $100s a month since October. Hemorrhaging financially. Right? And I believe that the little bit that we're getting from the house is going to pretty much squash all of it and get us caught up. Just like that. Boom. Right? I think that's amazing. So God is right on time. He wasn't early, right? Yeah, this thing could have all been wrapped up back in maybe January, possibly. Definitely could have been wrapped up by March, right? But it wasn't. It continued on. God gave us the strength to get through it, right? As we're going through the trial, we're learning things about ourselves, right? When everything's going good, your character never gets tested. If everything's going your way, your character's never tested. Okay, I did that, it worked. Hey, I did that, it worked. Hey, I did that, it worked. Life is great. Right? And you don't really learn a whole lot from that. But when things go wrong, now you're going to be tested. Now your character is going to be put to the test. Right? Now you're going to have to really be creative in trying to figure out problems when you're faced with one. Right? They say necessity is the mother of all invention. That's a really catchy saying that somebody somewhere came up with. Everybody knows that saying. Necessity is the what is it? Yeah, necessity is the mother of all invention. But adversity can also be the mother or father of invention. Is adversity. Hitting something that a brick wall and trying to figure out how do I get past this point. You have to invent something to get past it. So we actually gain a lot from going through trials, going through tribulations, and testing our character, testing us who we are as people, and really testing what we believe. And you really find out what you truly believe when you're going through tough times. And that's true. So that gets to the second part I told you about before I was going to get to. Right? That sometimes God allows us to go through tough times so that we rely upon Him for strength, so that we are tested in our faith. And with every test, you can pass or fail. Right? If you can't pass or fail, it's not a test. But if you could pass and you could fail, it's a test. Right? And, praise the Lord for God's grace. And sometimes there's a few failures before you learn how to be victorious. Sometimes. Right? Then you realize, why did I let that get to me? Why did I start thinking that, maybe everything's just going to go away? Maybe we're going to end up on the street. Why did I let these ideas get in my mind? Why did I get frustrated that day that I was frustrated? Why am I letting this get to me? I need to trust in the Lord more. I need to seek the Lord more. Right? And I tell you, it is a refining experience. And the Bible talks about refining and talk about the refiner's fire. Refiner's fire. And fire is not comfortable. Right? But just like gold, as it's tested in the fire, it's purified, right? All the dross is removed, and what is left over is pure gold. Then us as believers, we can experience the same thing spiritually. That we go through these things. If there's any dross that's in our lives, then God points that out to us, and then we could seek Him, and then we can remove that dross. And after we get through that refining fire, we come out pure as gold. So I don't despise the hard times that we have. I just seek the Lord, and the Lord gets us through it. So praise Him. All right, so I believe that we pretty much covered everything I was going to cover. So now we can just talk. Okay. So let's see here. See if anybody else has come in. Christy is here. Welcome. Also, Loving Ivy Farm. Good evening. Welcome.
Pemberley Farm Homestead.
Okay, where's that?
There's the top.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pemberley Farm Homestead. Good evening. All right. And let's see here. Oh. Make sure I don't click on the wrong thing here. We got Grammy Karen here. Welcome. And, like I said before, in past live shows, if you see someone new that you haven't seen and you think that they're a YouTube channel, feel free after our live is over to go check out their channel and see if you like their videos. And if you do like their videos, click like, subscribe. That's how it works. And but if you don't like their videos, that's your choice. I don't control your choice. It's just the way it goes, right? Mm-hmm. But if you have any questions for us, go ahead and type it in capitals so we can see that you're asking a question. And feel free to ask us anything you want to ask us about. We've been going through this for a really long time, and it hasn't been easy, And I'm glad it's going to be over, but we've learned a lot of things along the way. You know, it's actually a miracle that we're even able to get these plants planted this spring. You know, in past years, like last year, we were going through some things last year that, uh, you know, to where I just said, you know what, honey, it's just too much work. We'll do a garden next year, maybe. We can't do a garden this year. There's just too much going on, right? We just can't do it, right? And that's what we did last year. We just didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? And then this year, I was that close. I was that close to saying, you know what? Let's just wait till next year. It's just too much going on. You know, we got all this stuff going with the selling of the house. We have no money. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. You know, how's it all going to work out? Maybe we'll just wait till next year. I was really close, and then you know, that's when I was kind of prompted. I think maybe by the Lord to say, well, I mean, don't you trust in what the Lord can do? I'm like, well, yeah. Do you believe the Lord's going to sell your house? Yeah. Do you believe the Lord's always on time? Yeah. Then what's stopping you? Figure it out. Make it happen. You know, something along those lines. Huh?
You never told me that.
Yeah, I never really shared that with my wife. But it wasn't that verbatim, but those were the gist of the ideas that was coming through my mind. I was like, well, you know, I do trust that the Lord's going to take care of us. And you know what? Maybe I can get a little creative. So with what little money we had, we got some trays. We already had some dirt left over from before. So I thought, well, maybe we can make it work. It wasn't the seed starter mix like a lot of people use. If we would have had that, we would have used it. But it was garden soil. So we took some garden soil, put them in these cheap little trays that I was able to afford, and we got the seeds planted. And then they were really old seeds. And then they grew, really to our surprise, for the most part. You know, I believe that they could grow, but it didn't look like they were going to. But they did. They all came up. And then now I'm still juggling with the plants, how we're going to get them transplanted before they get totally root bound and ruined. And we're still going through that. And it's not entirely clear. Right now, our plan is to get them into bigger pots. And that'll buy us some time to where we get the raised beds put in.
Oh, Grandma Karen.
Ah, we got a question. All right, honey, you want to go ahead and read it?
Grandma Karen asked me if I made the quilt. No, I did not. But my mother gave it to me. It's an antique quilt. And before she passed away, she gave all the children a quilt. And this is my quilt that she gave me. I'm not quite sure how old it is, but it's pretty old. And it's not really the antique or what it's worth that means something to me. It's that my mother gave it to me. So I have several things that my mom gave me that mean a lot to me.
Right. All right. And I want to ask real quick. We have our fan blowing in the background. Is that sounding really bad over the audio? Is it making it sound bad? If it's making it sound bad, we'll just turn it off and we'll suffer through it. But are you hearing like any wind noise coming through the microphone? Or are you hearing any fan noise at all?
Thank you, Christy.
Someone please comment. Okay, yeah. And she said her mama was a quilter too. All right. Okay, great. Not at all. Okay, great.
Good.
I was a little concerned.
It's hot in here.
I know that sometimes whenever wind is blowing across the microphone, it sounds horrible. Okay, great.
Good.
Oh,
Hello,
Stivers.
Stivers.
Stivers Homestead's here. Welcome. All right. Came in from the garden. All right.
How's those tomatoes?
All right. All right, Pete's Homestead. Didn't even hear it. Great. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so any more questions? Just put them all in caps. You ask us any questions you like.
Malachi says sound good.
Sounds good.
You
all
still
right.
here, Malachi?
Yeah, he's still there. All right.
Tell your mama I said hi. And I miss her.
Yeah, Malachi is a close friend of ours, and we've known him for many years. So we really like that he's here. Okay.
Well, we're trying to put off turning on the air conditioner.
Yeah.
It's not that our air conditioner's broke. We don't want to pay the money for the air
Trying to save money.
I mean, we're surviving. It's not that. It's not like it's 90 out or anything.
Right. Now, we will be able to turn our air conditioning on at certain points in the summer. I can realize that sometimes it gets so hot that if you don't do something, bad things can happen. So I'm not going to let it get that hot in here. But if we can afford to run the AC, I would definitely run the AC if we could afford it. Definitely true. Eventually, pie in the sky, let's make some dreams happen, right? It'd be great if I can figure out some way, like either through solar power or through wind power or through some other means. And I am an electronics technician, so I can figure these things out pretty well. If I can figure out some way to make our electric bill cheaper, to where I can run the AC longer, I'd be running the AC all the time. Right?
I don't like a real cold house, but I do like it cool.
I enjoy being comfortable like the next guy, and if I could afford it, I'd have it running. I'd have it running right now if I could afford it. It's really not that bad out today.
Is heat and humidity bad in our area? It wasn't too bad. It was warm, but
Right.
it wasn't unbearable.
It's probably hotter here in our house than it is outside sometimes.
Yeah, because there's a nice breeze going all day today, and I opened up the windows, but
Right.
yeah, it was a little bit nicer outside than inside.
Right. It's a trailer, and yeah, so it might have been a little bit warmer in here than outside. And the humidity, I don't know. I don't think I even noticed the humidity. Not this point in the year yet.
No, the humidity's not too bad. It's just warm. I'm not used to
Right.
being this warm. This is the first week of really warm weather.
Yeah, here in Kentucky, we're in south central Kentucky, probably about 30 minutes from Tennessee, and it gets hot, and it does get humid from time to time, but it's not really all that unbearable. I don't even notice the humidity until like July, the hottest part of July, and maybe the beginning of August. I might notice it.
July and August, I can't live without an air conditioner
Right.
in Kentucky. It's really bad.
But May and June, really not too bad. I don't think up here.
Two Wild Onions said that she thought it was hot in Kentucky until she went down to Mississippi.
Yeah.
The humidity.
It definitely gets hotter when you go
The
further
humidity.
south.
That's what she said. The humidity.
Yeah, humidity.
Yep. I'm from Ohio, and our winters are nice and cold, and our springs are nice and cool, but our summers get really humid, sticky hot.
Mm-hmm.
Sticky, unbearable hot, very high humid. You can take a shower, get cooled off. Within a couple hours, you're already hot again.
The one thing I did like about our other house that we are selling day after tomorrow is that even though it's a big house, I think because of the way the trees are shading it, it was actually on most days cooler inside than it was outside during the summer.
The other house? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's lots of trees around us, yeah. And
Yeah.
then all morning long until probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sun didn't even hit the house.
Right. So whenever we didn't have to run the air conditioning very much, and if we did have to run it, we didn't have to run it all the time.
Yep.
But when we ran it, it did cost a lot of money. But anyhow, yeah, that other house is really nice because, well, the new buyers, that's one of the things that they're going to get. Whenever they get that house, they're going to get a house that's actually fairly cool in the summer. So it's good for them.
Two Wild Onions asked us a question.
Okay, what brought us to Kentucky? Both of us to Kentucky. That's a good question. We have two entirely different answers. Right? I came to Kentucky first, and I'm from Ohio. Actually, I'm from Southern Ohio, Portsmouth. If you ever heard of that town, it's right across the river from South Shore, Kentucky. right down the river from Greenup, Kentucky. So that's basically where I'm from. I lived most of my life in Columbus, Ohio, and long story short, because of a fellowship that was down here in Kentucky, what most people call church, because there's a fellowship down here that I really agreed with, and I moved down here to join that fellowship. That was my reason for coming to Kentucky. I came to Kentucky back in 2009, and I've been here in Kentucky since 2009. What brought you to Kentucky, honey?
Totally. Well, similar in a way, a little bit, but not exactly. I was living in Ohio at the time and caring for my mother, who was sick with pancreatic cancer, and I had been watching his videos. He did the street preaching, gospel preaching, and I would watch his videos. And I asked him a question one day about the Bible. He had YouTube channel, and then we dropped it, and then that was in October, and then December 9th, I think it was, he asked me to court. He sent me a message while I was living in Ohio, and he asked me to court, and I said yes, obviously, and I moved.
It's kind of funny though, isn't it? Because whenever you were asking me about the Bible, didn't I kind of shut you down, right? Remember?
Yeah, he shut me down. I wasn't flirting.
Right.
I don't want no one to think I was flirting.
Right.
I basically was just asking a question about the King James Bible,
Mm-hmm.
but he did put this barrier, okay, that's enough. I answered your question. I'm like, okay, and shut me down.
I wasn't being mean, and
No.
Really, the way I believe, the way we both believe, is that it's not good to give people the wrong idea.
Yep.
It's not good to lead people on.
Yep.
And I didn't really know her, but I was single at the time, and I had to be very guarded. Right. I had to make sure that whenever I conversed with women, me being single, I wanted to make sure that they didn't get the wrong idea. I didn't want to lead them on because I was single, and I only wanted to marry the woman that God wanted me to marry.
Amen.
And I didn't want to lead someone on thinking that there was some kind of relationship there or some kind of affection or something. That's dangerous. So I was just respectfully saying, well, okay,
yes.
I'm glad I answered your question. I'm not your husband and I'm not your pastor. So I didn't know her, so I didn't know if she was married or not. I say, ask your husband about these things and ask your pastor about these things. And that was just my very polite way of just saying, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So, and then that was October, and then December 9th, he sent me a very short. Well, his messages on describing my question for the Bible was paragraphs long. Okay, they were real long. Nothing wrong. It was just very detailed. Mm-hmm. And then when he asked me to court, it was 3 sentences. Sister Kelly, I believe the Lord's asking me to ask you to court.
Would you pray about it?
Would you pray about it? And I was like, woo, wow. And that hit me out of nowhere. But I did know he was single. But I also had put a wall up around my heart because I only wanted who God wanted me to marry. And so I knew he was single, and I knew he was a godly man, but I didn't allow myself to think about him. I just pushed it off. I said, Lord, if that's who you want me to marry, then you'll let me know. Whoever you want me to marry, then you'll let me know. And so when he asked me to court, I prayed about it.
Let me stop just right there.
Oh.
I want to fill in a little bit. Now, how did I go from not knowing whether or not she was married to knowing that she was single? Now, that's something that we ought to just throw in here before we get too far along. Totally independent of this whole encounter where she asked me about the Bible. I gave her an answer, and then after the answer was done, nicely and politely said, okay, have a nice day, right? After that happened, totally independent from that and not related to that at all, other people in my fellowship who had also known about Sister Kelly, right?
Well, like-minded
like-minded people.
People.
On
I was
Facebook.
friends with a lot of sisters in the fellowship.
On Facebook.
On
and
Facebook.
I didn't really know that. And they knew that she was single, right? And, through their prayer about it and stuff like that, it was eventually brought to me, several different people saying, have you considered Sister Kelly as a possibility? And then I was like, well, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. And then I thought about it some more and thought about it some more and prayed about it. Then I told him, I had this encounter with her a couple months ago where I basically kind of shut her down, and she probably doesn't want, maybe she thought I was being mean. I don't know. I wasn't trying to be mean.
Never thought so.
But, I was trying to be as polite as I could, but also keep a good, safe boundary. Because, it's really dangerous when you give the wrong expectations. Really dangerous. But anyway, so then after I prayed about it, and I believe the Lord gave me the okay, then that's when I approached her with that email. So then I told you to pray about it,
Yes, and I did.
And you prayed about it. Then what happened?
I prayed about it, and the Lord answered my prayer and showed me that He wanted me to marry Tracy.
How did you know?
Well, I had asked Him, and He gave me peace, and I put out a fleece.
Just a little bit of peace?
Well, that came in a little bit later. When I came down, He asked me, after we had talked on the, we started courting. I told him I was courting. We started talking through Messenger. And then I was supposed to go to my daughter's, but some things came up. And so he asked me to pray about coming down there to court him down here from Ohio. And so I went and prayed about it. And when I prayed about it, I was a new Christian. And so it was hard for me to hear God speak to me at first. And so I prayed. I was praying real hard. And I just wanted to do what was best, what was right. And so I didn't want to just be going on my own feelings. I just didn't want it to be me wanting to be married again. I didn't want to be me just not wanting to be alone. So I wanted it to be the Lord. And so I just prayed real hard, and I still didn't hear anything. And I asked him, I said, I just can't hear anything from the Lord right now. I said, did the Lord tell you? And he said, yes. And I said, well, what did the Lord tell you? And he said, he believed the Lord told him that I needed to come down there and to court and to get to know him and his fellowship. And so I did.
Well, this is what she told me. I've been trying to get it from her, but she's not remembering. What she told me is that whenever she prayed...
Oh, yes.
That when she prayed...
I know.
That she got peace...
Yes.
From the...
Okay, wait. I'll finish it. Okay. Yes. When I told him I'd come down, I got peace from the tip of my head to the bottom of my feet. And I had been very emotional during that time. There were some things going on in my family, and it was very emotional. And so I was crying a lot. I was very emotional. And so I had no peace. I was very upset, I hadn't smiled or been happy, not for a long time, but during this time, I was very exhausted from all the emotions.
She was going through some trials.
Yes. And I was very exhausted and from all of it. And when I said I would come down, I got a piece from it almost felt like, and I got long hair, from the tip of my hair to the tip of my skull all the way down to my toes. I got this peace, this like calmness, stillness in my soul. And I knew then it was the Lord.
She just knew.
I knew. There was no doubting it. There was no, oh, maybe it's God. No. I went to bed with a smile on my face. I woke up the next morning with a smile on my face. I had this joy overflowing, bubbling out of me. And I knew it was the Lord. And so I didn't tell him this, but I came down that next day. And even, I hadn't met him. I had never met him. And I didn't know what he'd be like, if we would clash or if we would get along or what. And so in my heart, I knew it was the Lord. And I believe in following the Lord completely, obeying totally. Okay, so I believe that's, if I would have not obeyed, it would have been a sin. And so I,
But we don't want to make you think that okay, you're forced to do this
no,
thing.
no.
It's not like that. It's just
No.
that once you know,
Yes, I knew.
and
throughout.
once you have the knowledge and you know that it's right, when you know it's the right thing to do, then as a Christian, you want to do the right thing.
Exactly, that's more like it. I want to do.
Right? It's not like people like look at it, it's like, well, if you don't do it now, it's sin. It's like, oh, okay, so God is making you do it.
No.
It's not like that at all.
No. But anyways, so when I got down here, I knew that even if I didn't like him, I was going to marry him. I know that sounds strange, but I knew it was God's will and I knew it was the Lord. But obviously, that didn't happen.
She likes me.
That didn't happen.
She likes
Stop
me.
It. Stop it. You silly. But that didn't happen. But that's how set I was on obeying God, and I knew it was the Lord. I knew it was God.
And that's how she came to Kentucky.
That was a long one. I'm sorry. That was long. Sorry.
That was a long one. But
I apologize.
And some of this is actually in our unboxing our life story. I don't know if we went probably more detail just now than we did in that video. Pretty sure we did.
She said she hoped it's not too personal. She wondered what fellowship we're a part of.
Okay, well, right now the name of our fellowship is Firm Foundation Fellowship. At the current time, we are the only ones in the fellowship.
Well,
And I know that sounds kind of strange, but
the Lord did some rearranging.
it's just the way it goes. I'm a what you'd call a pastor.
I know.
Elder is what the biblical term is, elder.
Oh. They're burning that rest of that.
Oh yeah, they're burning something in the yard back there.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Kind of caught us off guard.
Scared us.
They've got a tractor back there moving this big tree around, and they've got it caught on fire. I don't know why I haven't thought about it, but it might have been a good thing to video. Anyway.
We've done enough fires there.
Anyway, they're out there burning that thing.
Okay,
so.
anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, we're talking about a fellowship and everything. So I'm what you call an elder. Some people call it pastor, but the more biblical title is actually elder. And, even though that there's no current families in the fellowship at this time, I believe the Lord is still leading me to be an elder, and I believe that's going to change. I believe people are going to join the fellowship, and as families that agree with us on the Bible come to join with us, then it'll grow the way the Lord wants us to grow.
But when I came down, it was a home fellowship of just Bible believing, Bible obeying, godly people.
Right, and so we just obey the Bible, exactly what the Bible says, taking everything in a proper context, and not ignoring things too. Just because sometimes people ignore things that they don't like, and I have to admit there's some things that are in the Bible that are not exactly favorable, right? But we believe it because it's true. We believe it's because it's true. So that's the approach that we take. And, we'll just do it as the Lord leads.
Oh, I told Jen my courtship story when I was up there visiting with her.
Oh, yeah, so she heard some of it already.
I told you already, didn't I? Thank you for saying it's a sweet story.
Yeah.
Well, I cherish it, and it's very beautiful, because the most beautiful thing is when we got married. Well, when I first met him, he's taller than what I thought he was going to be. And he walked in, I was staying with a family in the fellowship, and he came for dinner, and it was the first time I was meeting him. And I didn't know if I should shake his hand, because I knew we were going to have a hands-off courtship. And when he walked in, all I thought was, wow, how tall he is. And then my friend told me, though, that if he doesn't put out his hand to shake my hand, don't put your hand out.
Right, because they didn't really know. I did find a Bible verse on that. And, I'm not saying that you can't do certain things
It's
like holding hands. I personally believe that people shouldn't be kissing until they're married. Whenever you're walking down the aisle and you say you do, and you say before everyone you're committed to be married, and then now it's time to kiss the bride, that really should be the first time you kiss. I really think that's the way it should be. But as far as not holding hands and stuff like that, I found a Bible verse that says it's not good for a man to touch a woman. And I believe that the context of that is a single man. It's not good for a single man to touch a woman because it gives the wrong expectation. And if you give the wrong expectation, people's hearts can be broken, and that's very serious. So I saw that verse and it's like, I want to apply that to our courtship. So I said, I made the rule that we're not going to touch each other at all. Not even like that. Right?
Or that.
Right. Or no hand holding. We're married now, so I have no problem with it. But, if you think about it,
it made it special.
it made it very special.
Made it very special.
And if we can't even touch each other like that, then where's the focus going to be, do you think? On getting to know each other.
That's what it was. When we would get together and have, we would eat where there was chaperones around, have dinner at their house, and we would get to know each other. And
right.
And so, but anyway, so then on our wedding day, that's what was most beautiful, is that it was the first day we held hands. It was the first day we kissed. The first day we hugged.
Right.
And he washed my feet in the ceremony. It was very beautiful.
Right.
It was very beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It made it very special.
Right. So, oh wow.
Too many skip the part. This context.
Oh yeah, context is very important.
Yeah.
But and I'm not trying to say that that's a rule that everybody has to follow and everything. But
that's
whenever
how we wanted to do it.
But whenever you get together and we had these meetings, right? That's all part of our courtship. Is we got together, we had meetings, we had supervised meetings. That way that there would be no appearance of evil, that we had proper boundaries.
Yep.
And if you take away all the things that people focus on when they focus on relationship, you take all that away. Physical contact and all this other stuff that people get all wrapped up in. You know what you end up with? You get to know each other. And we actually got to know each other before we got married. I got to know what she likes. She got to know what I like. I got to know what she was like as a person. And she got to know what I was like as a person. So then whenever the Lord's leading me to marry her, and the Lord's leading her to marry me, then we can feel more at ease about getting married because we actually know each other as people.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
It was beautiful.
So.
Great story. Thank you. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it sure was.
It was a gift from God.
And it's something that, there were difficulties along the way. I'm not going to say it wasn't without difficulties. And it wasn't easy to go through that kind of a courtship. It wasn't easy. But looking back on it, we have zero regrets.
Yep.
What we have is a beautiful memory, a beautiful, perfect memory that we can cherish for the rest of our lives. And then we can know that, okay, we did everything without any apology and without any reason to have any regrets whatsoever. And that's just a beautiful thing where you can have that. And I'm just glad we did it that way. So, but that's what brought us to Kentucky.
Yep. I came to get married.
Yeah. So any more questions? We have more questions?
Well, it's almost time.
Well, we didn't start talking to them until 10 after, so we can go a little bit longer.
Oh, okay.
We try to keep it down to like an hour, but the first 10 minutes of anybody's live chat is really nothing. Nothing going on the first 10 minutes usually. But yeah, if you have any more questions, just put it in capital letters and feel free to ask. And let me see if I can think of anything to talk about for a few minutes, or wait for some questions to come across.
I learned how to make a heart-shaped rug.
Oh, go get it. She finished her heart-shaped rug. Heart-shaped rug. It's a toothbrush rug. And there it is.
It's short. I wanted to make it bigger. But the directions, they didn't give me a very correct. To see, the longer the start, the bigger the rug. So they told me to only make it so big. And so making it only so big, this is all the bigger it gets. So I was thinking maybe make a big, nice hot pad to put your hot dishes on your table, or I might just remake it. I just might take it apart and make it longer and make it a bigger heart shape.
Because in one instance, it's almost too small. It's also almost too big
Yeah, for a hot pad.
It's like in between size.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, she didn't know when she did the pattern. She didn't know how big it was going to be. It didn't say in the pattern, so she didn't find out until she finished it. So it's one of those things.
Yep. I thought it was. I just was excited to make a heart. It was weird to make a different shape
Make
than
a shape
just
of
a
a heart,
circle.
Yeah, make an oval or a circle, something like that.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, and if you're interested in it, how much did you say you're going to sell it for?
Well, yeah. I was wanting to sell them for 15. Well, it depends on how big, but
That one right there is probably what, 25 or 30?
that one was 20.
20?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, $20.
But there's a lot of work in that, so.
So if you're interested in that, you can give me an email at microfarmstarter@gmail.com.
But I can make smaller ones.
That's microfarmstarter@gmail.com.
Sorry.
Send me an email and we'll talk about it. And if you want to buy it, then we'll have it shipped to you.
Yeah, it is pretty to put on a table with a centerpiece. I agree, Grandma Karen.
That's probably the
I
best.
agree.
Probably the best use for it.
It was just fun to make a heart shape instead
Yeah.
of just round.
Mm-hmm. I think you figured out how to make it bigger, right? So maybe the next one you make might
I
be
can
bigger.
make a bigger one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can make bigger. You're just gonna make the starter longer, right? It's like you like if anybody knows knits, you know how you have to do the starter, or even crochet. You got to do the starter chain or the starter cast on. It's the same way. You want to cast on a long line of stitches, and then you stitch around it.
And you start reducing.
Well,
Is that what you call it? Reduction?
well, you reduce here and you add a stitch here.
So you increase down there.
Yeah, increase and you decrease by 2 stitches up here, and then you add increases around the circles so that they don't want to to make them so they don't want to cup up, so they don't make a bowl.
Just so you know, I don't understand how she does it, but I remember certain words that she uses. I try to keep up on the terms.
Yeah, increase, decrease. Basically, that's all you really need to know is casting on the stitch and decreasing and increasing.
Right.
And not even the decrease. And if you're just going to make round circles or just round ovals, just make ovals, and you don't even need to know how to decrease. You just got to know how to increase. No, I mean, sorry. You don't know how to, you don't have to know. Yeah.
You got it right the first time, right?
Yeah.
It's
Increase.
confusing.
Sorry, you just got to know how to increase, not decrease. Increase. Sorry, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, it's getting a little late. That's why sometimes that happens when we get tired. But yeah, I am so excited. The day after tomorrow, we're going to go down and we're going to sign some papers and we're going to be set free from a mortgage. Selling that house.
Loving Ivy. Was it Loving Ivy that was wanting to meet with us?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too. Is
Yeah.
we can't remember who it was that was wanting to meet with us.
I think it was Loving Ivy.
But if you... we're not going to be able to meet with anybody on Thursday. I thought that they would probably want to do it like later in the afternoon around 2 p.m. And that's what I thought, that they were going to do that. And it turns out that I told them I want to do it early in the morning. Because I'd like to get some things done. So I wanted to get it early in the morning so I can maybe even get back to work and get some hours in so I don't lose out on those hours. So I wanted to be able to do that. So I thought it was going to be in the evening or in the afternoon. And then they decided to move it to the morning for me. So it's going to be like early in the morning that we're going to be able to close on the house. So that actually makes it possible where I can make it back home to get back to work so I don't lose out on too many hours. And I can get some work done in the same day. And we are planning on celebrating and going out to dinner, but it's not going to be on Thursday. Actually, we thought about it, and until we get all these past due bills caught back up, which
is wise.
It'll only be like a few days. Once the check clears, we'll be able to do that. Should be like Monday, then I'll be able to squash all those bills that we fell behind on, squash them all in a single day. And then once that's done, then we'll make plans of going out and celebrating. And I've got a few ideas that I'm kicking around right now.
Oh.
Got a few ideas I'm kicking around.
Oh, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah.
I thought it was just dinner.
Dinner, there's definitely going to be dinner, but there might be some other things I'm kicking around because this is a really huge thing for us. So
this is exciting, dear.
Yeah. So, but I can't say for sure. I'm just putting this cliffhanger on there.
Yeah. You know what he does to me? He does this. It's fine. It's not that I enjoy it actually. He likes surprising me, but he does this to me, and then I'll ask him a question. He's like, "So what should I wear?" Oh, well, you'll wear what you're gonna wear.
Yeah, because she's asking what should I wear to get a clue. Get a clue in what I've got planned. But the good thing about it is that I know her whole wardrobe, and everything she has looks beautiful to me. So there we go. So when she says what should I wear, it doesn't matter to me, right? But I could say, well, whatever you're going to wear, that's what you're going to wear. That way I don't give her any hints, because I do like surprises. And, the reason why I like surprises is that when you build up some suspense, and you kind of stretch it out a little ways, then when you give the reveal, you get to see the excitement. And that's worth all of it right there. That's really worth it. I love surprising my wife. And she kind of likes it too. And I don't get too terrible with it. I mean, it's not like
It's not all the time.
I don't tell her something months in advance.
No.
Usually, I only put her in suspense for a few days.
Well, my birthday's a little longer. It was like a week or something like that.
Right. But she started asking questions pretty early on that one. So, when the questions start, that's when the suspense starts.
I really don't want to guess. That's probably why I don't ask questions that much.
Yeah, you do ask a few.
I don't want to know, really.
Because that spoils it for me.
I like asking questions just to play with him, mainly, but because I know he won't tell me anyways. But I like being surprised. I don't want it to be spoiled. I'd rather be surprised. That's just the way I am.
I make sure it's something that's worthy of a surprise.
I'm really excited now.
I usually make sure. Think about the past surprises I've done with you, honey. Were all the past surprises, were they worthy of being a surprise? Because on your birthday we went out hiking, right?
Yep, you took me hiking on my birthday.
Went out to Mammoth Cave Park. In Kentucky. We went out there and went hiking, and actually went to a cave tour.
Yep.
Which a cave tour
I highly recommend it.
At Mammoth Cave, it's underground hiking.
You're hiking anyways, yeah.
Yeah, you're hiking underground.
Yeah.
Up, down, around corners.
Yep.
You have to squeeze through some crevices sometimes.
Go sideways through some places, yeah.
It's some real hiking, but you're underground.
I'm type that I would be afraid that I would get stuck somewhere. It's nothing that serious, but you do have to go like sideways and you have to duck down. No crawling or anything like that. But
right.
And the best part was Niagara.
Yeah, the frozen Niagara.
Frozen Niagara, yeah. That's the best part. If you can go to Mammoth Cave, if all you can do is go to, it's only a quick tour too. It's like what, a half an hour, 20 minutes?
Right, and they're really cheap tours. They don't cost that much.
No.
So
if you can only spare a short time, go to the frozen Niagara. The rest of it is mainly just caves, not a lot of stalactites and stalagmites and all that stuff. There's not a lot of that throughout the whole cave. Maybe here and there might be a little bit, but down at the frozen Niagara, it's everywhere, and it's beautiful, very beautiful.
Right. So yeah, that's what we did for her birthday, and we also went out to eat. Was that the Japanese place?
Yep, Japanese.
We had Japanese for dinner. About as close to Japanese as you can get in Kentucky. So it's actually pretty good. I'd say it's pretty authentic.
Christy.
Pretty authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so that was one surprise that I had for you. Then I've surprised her with other things in the past.
Curtains.
Yeah, these curtains. This right here was a surprise.
I think we told him before one time, didn't we?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's some new people. The curtains, he surprised me. He said, there's a package coming in the mail. Don't open it.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. And it was curtains for when we first moved here. If anyone doesn't know, you can take sheets, and up at the top, they have the fold over, and then they sew it over. You can open up the ends and put a curtain rod through there if you can't afford curtains, or, you know, you might have something happens to your curtains and you need curtains in a pinch. And they actually, if you put two of them that match, two white ones or two yellow ones or two pink ones, they actually look really nice, and you can open up and drape them back. They look really nice. And so I've been content for years that since we've been married with just doing sheets. And then when we moved into this trailer the first time, about 2 years ago, he bought me the curtains, and he surprised me with them.
Right.
And he knows I love gingham.
Right. I know she loves gingham, and she actually loves green gingham. I couldn't find any green gingham curtains.
I love burgundy, though.
So I found these red ones, and actually, these are more of a burgundy.
Mm-hmm. I love them.
But on the Amazon, they look more like a scarlet red. So I wasn't sure how she was going to like it. So I'm glad they came out to be more burgundy than scarlet red.
Yeah, I do like them.
Mm-hmm.
I like the burgundy. It's very country.
All right.
Anyways.
So that was a surprise.
Carlsbad. Where's Carlsbad at? Caverns.
I know it's a famous place. I'm not sure where it's at either.
Christy, Brett said.
Yep.
Oh, Rocky Homestead. Hello. Hello, Rocky Homestead.
Okay, well,
Oh, I got to go on the Wild Cave tour one time, Mama, at Mammoth Cave. Yeah, you live close to it. No, wait. No, you live up north. That's right. Yeah, she lives up towards Louisville. Sorry.
okay.
Yeah. She's Jen Stiver's
Okay.
mom.
All right.
We met her. Grandma Karen.
Okay. Yeah, it's, and they have a lot of tours, and actually, they have just a frozen Niagara tour. We went on that one the first time we went to the caves.
Oh, New Mexico.
Because we didn't want to go on a long tour, and it was a short tour. But this last tour was a much longer tour. It had a different starting point, and it ended up at the frozen Niagara. That was like the end of it. And that's the better tour to get on. It's a lot longer. There's a lot more walking involved, but you get to see a lot more of the cave system.
I enjoyed it.
And it was a lot better. So, but that's a lot longer. So be prepared to hike if you're going to go on that extended tour.
Christy Betts said New Mexico is where Carlsbad.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah. Where are you from? Where do you live, Christy? Carlsbad. I'm gonna have to look that up now. I want to see what it looks like. If you're ever in Kentucky, you should try to go to Mammoth Cave. It's in Cave City. It's a national park.
And if you like to learn about history, there is a museum inside there. And, it is a little bit of a heartbreaking history.
Yeah, there's one.
There's stories about where people have died, different things have happened, clashes between individual landowners and government control, and all these things that happened.
Cave explorers.
Yeah, it's a little heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but I appreciate that they include all the information anyway. That they don't just smooth it over or try to make it seem more palatable or acceptable or whatever. I actually appreciate that I can see that there's a lot of truth in what they're sharing there, because it is difficult. Usually when most truth is difficult truth, right? So I really appreciate that. So I really like history, and if you like history, it's a good place to visit and learn about history of that part of Kentucky.
She's from Christy's from Alabama.
Oh, okay.
I've never been to Alabama, but maybe as a kid drove through it, but never really been in, where I've gotten to see around. But we have friends at...
Yeah, we've been in Georgia.
Yep.
So we have friends in Georgia.
Georgia.
And
Oh, we have friends in Mississippi, not Alabama.
yeah, I've been in a lot of different states.
Not
but,
me. Not as many as him.
Yeah, I travel around a lot. At least I have. All right.
Ah.
Blanchard Springs Caverns in North Arkansas State Park. That's another one to check out.
When we go to Missouri, is it close to the Missouri state line? Yeah, that'd be a great one to check out because we'd be close. It says
Right.
northern
Oh yeah.
Arkansas, so that'd be close to Missouri.
Another thing to point out is that the park here in Kentucky, the Mammoth Cave Parks, it's actually part of the Yellowstone Park System.
The whole, the national park.
The National Park System.
National Park
It's
system.
a national park. It's part of the same system that Yellowstone National Park is a part of.
Yep, it's part
Part
of
of
all
the same park system.
Yep.
So that's pretty interesting to note. Because I didn't know that. I was like, really? In Kentucky? I didn't believe it at first, but yeah, it's
Aw,
true.
that's
It's
sweet.
true.
Country homestead preacher said, "Come visit us in Alabama sometime."
Okay, well, maybe we will.
That's nice. Thank you.
Never know what the future holds.
You never know. Thanks for the invitation, though.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
And you know, once we get past this house deal and everything, and we get caught up on our bills, and we've celebrated, and all that's done and everything, and now we're back to our everyday life. We are planning on getting the quail into production. We want to get some quail, and we want to get the rabbits back into production,
I'm excited.
and get the raised beds in place.
I think that might be one of the first ones because we got the tomatoes to get in the ground.
Yeah, the raised beds will probably be first. But then after the raised beds will probably be the quail and the rabbit, and probably in that order, most likely.
The Rocky Homestead said the Blanchard Springs Caverns in northern Arkansas is close to Missouri.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, maybe we could explore that sometime.
Yeah, we'll see.
When we get there someday.
Right, we'll see how see what holds in the future.
With the Lord, yeah.
My wife, she loves to go hiking, so she loves hiking in the outdoors. Now, I don't dislike it, so it's not. But I don't love it, but I don't dislike it either. So we go hiking sometimes.
My favorite time to go hiking, and I haven't gone hiking this time because things are always so crazy at this time for us. It's early spring. We're talking like end of March, early April, and you can see the bloodroot and all the wildflowers blooming. Right now, the lady slippers, orchids are starting to bloom right now. And just all the wildflowers. I love early spring, early summer, and it's just my favorite time to go. It's still really cool yet. It's not unbearably hot, and once you get under the canopy of the trees, I just love hiking. I used to go hiking on the AT, the Appalachian Trail, down in Virginia when I lived with my daughter.
All right, so if there's no more questions, it's been over an hour, so we're going to go ahead and end it here. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you coming and checking out our live feed. And I am going to try to make our live feeds more interesting in the future. I've got some ideas brewing.
Ooh, he hasn't told me about them.
And try to make things a little bit more interesting. And just come back every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we want to thank you all for coming out.
Yep, thank you.
And we also appreciate you coming to our channel and watching our videos.
We truly do.
We make videos for people to watch, so we do appreciate when you come to our channel. And just have a really good evening. Have a good evening, and God bless you.
Night.